So I guess I can talk a little bit about like how routing changed on the old content real quick, but while this plays. Because what they did was they like changed the scaling for levels, and I don't understand fully as to why they changed the scaling for levels. I'm pretty sure it was because they were adding a whole bunch of extra chests into the game, and they wanted to make sure that that salt had a purpose. That is what I'm going to assume is the most likely thing. But either way, we're left with the game that really is in need of a really needed some rerouting on its old content. It also means that the newest patch is slower. So if you want to do like any percent, you want the older patch. But if you want to do any of the new content, obviously you have to play it on the newest patch. Skipping the map, pretty standard. Grabbing a potion, you might ask why we use potions, because if you watched my most recent attempts at any percent, you'd notice that I skipped the potions. Simply put, I absolutely need potions to do all my skips. There's no way around it. And you're gonna notice a whole lot of like spaghetti moments like that, where it's just like I jump the wrong spot and just kind of like lose time from it. Honestly, it's kind of to be expected, but not really there, because, like, you know, I've played this like a million times. I played this section a million times. According to my splits, I've played this section at least like 500, 2,000 times, so... You know, just one more category to put another 100 attempts into, I guess. Like, that's another spaghetti moment. That room's just hard, though. So a big thing to mention, I guess, I'll talk about the game in general as well, because I can use this also for submissions to other things that are coming up. So I forgot about that, but I definitely should talk about it, because we're going to be going for picking up 2 potions at the early game. We'll get a third one much later on. But for now, we need to get to basically the painter guy, or the music guy named Thomas. He activates some purple panels. We can take those purple panels and just kind of go to the next section with them. That's all really we can do with it. The early game of Dandara is very scripted, despite it being being a Metroidvania. There's only really a couple extra places to explore. One thing you might notice if you're used to like the any percent route or watching those, you normally have 700 salt, but because most enemies drop more salt now, we end up with like a little bit extra, and we're actually going to be using that little bit extra salt too. It's kind of amazing to me that they made enemies drop extra salt, and as a result, we don't have to do like that much farming. We don't have to like go out of our way to get too many chests in this route by the end of it. It'll mostly be for safety after a while. I don't remember why I used the potion there. I know I needed to use the potion, but I should have waited to be on a moving platform before doing that. I guess I was so transfixed on using the potion, not thinking about where I was standing for it. I really do like the look of the new panels in this. They all look a lot more unique than they did before. Before they just kind of looked like purple whatevers. Now they look like actually cool purple platforms. I will say though that like there's a visual cue I used to use there, and like it doesn't work anymore because it like covers up the cow and no longer the same way. So I'm just like, how do I make that visual cue work? I don't know. Just don't know. Pretty crazy to me. So this is just more standard starting stuff. Things don't change too much until we get to the hard fight, which I guess is kind of understandable considering that you don't get to the like the expanded content until you beat the second boss. So I do think it is possible to get like a one cycle on a 3-shot, but I think it's next to impossible to do so. Because I think it's fully reliant on how long he wants to keep his hands out and where they spawn. Because you basically would need to start shooting them and never stop. Pretty standard affair, just getting as much damage as we can in here. That did end up being a really good fight. I was like trying to remember it because like I don't know, I have not been paying attention to the early game too much when I've been doing these attempts, even though it only says 4 attempts. The reason for that is just because like I know this early game so much at this point. It's just like, you know, how much time do I lose or gain on it? We're doing pretty good by this early game standards, so I'm okay with it. I do screw up here though, and I talk to Lazuli twice, which is just like, okay, I love how much I have to, love how much I'm not allowed to jump after talking to you. But that's how it goes. Pretty standard salt collection for upgrades right now. Nothing too special going on here. That room got dicey, but that was like more of just me missing the one enemy instead of hitting him, so that was kind of just me being stupid. More standard affair. Of course, we're getting the arrow freedom, like especially in a run where we have to do more combat. I guess that's one thing worth mentioning, is we have a lot more combat that we have to do in this run. Not only do we have to fight Heart now, but there's also forced combat rooms after it. So it's not just like, okay, you know, we're getting this for like one fight way later on. It's like we're getting this for like 3 or 4 fights. It's 5, 7, somewhere in that area. Fights later on. So the new routing works out pretty well. We end up with just enough for 4 upgrades. Just about everything we did meant that we had enough salt. So it might get to a point where, like, even if we like can kill less enemies in like the early game, we won't choose to do so because we just need the salt. Because there are no other easy to get early game chests that take less time than just killing an enemy. I don't bother picking up the body there because it's only these 2 rooms to the next camp. And I will be using the next camp on like 80%. It is interesting to think about fighting Heart later, but the problem with fighting Heart later is we don't have access to Masquerade yet, and the only thing we need the door that goes to the Hidden Realms for in the Heart fight is the jail, but you can't get to the jail without completing the Masquerade, and I don't know if there's any other nearby camps to the Masquerade that could be used beneficially after we get Dream Pearl. So it's a whole lot of like, I don't know. I just don't know. But it is potentially faster if we could do the Heart fight like later with the nearby camp inside of the Hidden Realms. But I don't know if that potential's there, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Getting up on Desert Skip. So I could do another skip that I'll be doing later twice by doing one like here instead of doing all this section. But for now I'm opting to do this, and that's just because I'm inconsistent at the other skip. I even had to like change this skip because like I don't know what it is, but they changed like how your knockback works, and they changed like the amount of like invincibility you have after getting hit too. It's like really awkward. We're gonna be picking up yellow potions. I simply need them. Like, this isn't me being like, oh, maybe I can get this here. It's like, no, this is me being like, okay, I need these. Nice jump, me. I don't think I've ever done that clean before. Those guys almost always hit me. Which is pretty good I did that clean, because unfortunately I do screw up in a couple rooms up ahead. I already take one unnecessary hit. And then here, the enemy does not like notice me. He just decides to like, okay, just not notice me and come out over there, I guess. So I'm taking a lot of damage at this point. And it's like getting like, okay, well, I hope this doesn't get any more dicey than this. Dying here is basically just gonna be a reset, because like, if I'm not to the new content yet, like, I'm like losing easy time I should have had. And that sucks, so. I don't know why I took that potion for safety, because like I've gotten past those guys 100 times before without having to get hit. I guess I was just that afraid of losing the run. I use missiles there just because I picked up a yellow potion, so I can immediately refill my missiles. Pretty standard antlion fight. He's not that tough. He's never been that tough, so I'm not surprised how that went. Okay, so here's like the first actual change to the run to make it work for true ending. Because I have a different campsite, it's faster to go from the starting campsite over to the memory shaft than it is to go from basically where we start the other campsite, like the what's it called? I think it's like the tower campsite. I can't remember what it's called. But this campsite over here is better than the last campsite we saw for getting to the memory shaft. And the memory shaft is, of course, very required in the run. We need it for both fake town skip and bridge skip, along with weapon clipping, masquerade early, doing a mask puzzle. Like it's pretty much just like we need it for everything. It's funny how they made the game longer and it was just like, oh hey look, this ability that we got halfway in the game turned out it was really, really broken and we could use it in all sorts of places. I will die here, unfortunately. This is not a perfect run. This is far from a perfect run. But it's still like... I was actually kind of annoyed I did get the angle for the jump there, but I didn't get it in time. But like this is not a perfect run. This is more of like a proof of concept for the run. There's definitely some like routing changes I'd like to make to this to make it a little bit faster. But this is like the majority of what the run will look like will be this. And after coming back, I think I get it like first try, which is just like, okay, I guess, whatever. There's a weird consolation prize for getting it, I guess, first try the second time. I could use the missile there and save like, I don't know, less than a half a second, but still, save time. Don't have to charge. I guess this is one of the few instances I could say why we don't use missiles for moving platforms, because like platforms move based on how strong of a shot you use, and we use a very weak shot there. So, or missiles are considered like 2 or 3 damage, like they're considered almost nothing, so they move you almost nothing. They're not worth doing in that case. And nothing else is too heavy to be, or uses too much meter to be considered used for that. So we always will use move platforms by just shooting. Another instance where I could actually add in missile usage. I definitely need to keep track of that, because that's something I'm not used to in the base 90%, having a lot of extra missile uses. Like the only time I have missile uses in like 20% is going to breaching the wall, which you don't really need any there. So here I'm trying to like angle my shot differently, and for some reason I have no idea why it will not change. I just try to like move and do more damage, but that ended up being stupid. Yeah, I have no idea. Like I'm honestly confused. Like I thought for sure that like I could angle my shot, but I don't know. I don't know if the game has like some sort of like tracking property now, where it like tries to home in on your targets on the enemies, which would be kind of a pain, because it's like I really don't need that, and in some cases it's actually detrimental. But you know, it's there now, if it is. There's another possible missile usage. We're going to be leaving the normal way, and this is why I say like it could be beneficial to come back later with like Pearl of Dreams, but I don't know if there's another campsite within a good location inside the Dream Realms to make that, or the Hidden Realms to make that worth it. I'm just not sure. Choose not to pick up the body, so hopefully I don't die here. So I can't like save that salt for later. You know, you might think, okay, you know, like you just use that for safety now. It's like, no, I just have to use it now because I can't use it later because I'm gonna be using another death ward. It's definitely interesting, like routing this out with salt in mind again. I think I did pretty good. Most times I'm only at like maybe an extra couple hundred salt. There is one notable exception where I have like 900 salt. And I would like to do some different routing to make sure I can use that instead of like throwing it all into a trash can. This room went really weird because that's not normally not even close to the route I'm trying to take through that room. You can get through that room like before he shoots the third laser at all, but that was slow, so. Also screw up first cycle in this room, as you can see. I'm a little mad. I tried to shoot a missile anyways. It's just like, come on. The thing about fast cycle in that room is that like it saves time on like all the cycles of that laser. You don't have to wait for it all. This guy's AI changed again, and I'm just not used to it anymore. Like, they keep changing his AI, and it's really getting annoying at this point. It's just like, why? He already was a pain in the butt. Alright, bird's done. We're getting to a point where like the actual Trials of Fear content comes into play. But for now, like, it's just a little bit more of the standard route stuff. But yeah, this like in between like major like sections routing is definitely like, what's the word I'd use? A little iffy at the moment. Yeah, that's the word I'd use. Because I'm just not exactly sure which way I should be going about a lot of stuff in these sections. Like what would be the fastest route between doing like Golden Fortress, Masquerade, and the jail, while also giving me safety and upgrades, giving me like all sorts of things. Also, this was an accidental main menu. I didn't mean to do that, but that's the way it went. Because like that's something I have to think about. I'm just not sure how I should be approaching it right as of right now. Gonna go get the easy bonus salt. At this point, I kind of like know where all the easy quick salt is in the game. And it's just like, okay, you know, I can go grab this and hopefully get some time save out of it. So I get enough with these two chests plus this body out here for 2 upgrades, and I still need one more upgrade after that. Needless to say, it's a little annoying. Like, it just doesn't not quite work out to be enough. Just barely. I'm not sure where I can squeeze out more salt either to really make this faster. You might think we're trying to enter the Hidden Realms. That is incorrect. We're just grabbing Yellow Potion here too. You might think it's kind of weird that we grab so many Yellow Potions. I think this is Yellow Potion number 3. We're gonna get 4 total. And to quickly explain why, it's because we need 4 uses to get to the Masquerade in one shot without having to do any form of return to camp. And return to camp wastes like 30 seconds, I think. Whereas picking up the extra potions take like less than 30 seconds. So at the very least, we need at least 2 Yellow Potions to complete a run. It just worked out that grabbing 2 extra Yellow Potions was faster than doing a camp return. But in all honesty, I would prefer to have like at least 3 or 4 potions, and the simple reason is because it makes other sections safer, because I have multiple opportunities to do them. And we'll get to that one. I'll talk about that when we get to it. That's just bridge skip. Done bridge skip 100 times. I get tired of explaining bridge skip, but you know, if it's a marathon setting, of course I'm going to explain bridge skip. More importantly, we're going to do fake town skip. Fake town skip changed once again. It's really awkward. The reason why it changed is because they changed how long the invincibility lasts. So you're invincible for less frames right now. I was told it was supposed to be more, but it didn't work out. We actually got through the cloud there, and it was frustrating to get kicked back in, but that just happens. Whole bunch of early attempts there. And then I think, yeah, we get clipped straight through it that time. So at this point, we're like way ahead. This actually isn't intended main menu. Main menu is just faster in this situation for in-game time purposes. So normally, what I would like have to do here is, if I remember to do it, I would have gone to the other camp. Via Dream. And so I'm just kind of like deciding like what's my best course of action right now. And I decide I think I'm gonna go to the camp that I was supposed to go to earlier and then go do my extra stuff. Because even though I have like 2 potions, 3 yellow potions, and I can get 1 yellow potion along the way, I still need a 3rd yellow potion. Which we're gonna go, or a 3rd red potion. After red potion 3, we're gonna go pick up some extra salt. I believe that's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna go to the Masquerade. I think doing Golden Fortress before the Masquerade might be a better choice. Just because I can save the 900 salt for later to use in upgrades. Yeah, here I am just like, where was I going again? I'm really not used to the new dream menu, because like I'm used to the old dream menu where it's like the only options I needed were like the top options, not like 3-4 options along the list. It's definitely had a unique change to the game's content that way. I have no idea why it took so long to get to village outskirts. Pretty sure I was just trying to remember where I was going. But yeah, there's kind of a reason I want to do Masquerade early. It's because it's easily the longest section. But I guess I could also do it after Golden Fortress. Golden Fortress is still a very hard section anyways. Like, it's just, we have more potions now, so it's like, okay, this is like 3% more doable, but now some of the enemies have been made harder, so now it's like, okay, now I'm gonna get hit a whole bunch more because I'm not used to this anymore. It's very awkward. Alright, first example, weapon clipping. Weapon clipping is really easy. Like, it's, the thing is, like, wherever, like, Dandara's hand is, it'll try to spawn the memory shaft. So if you just put her hand through a wall, the weapon will just go straight through the wall. Most of the other weapons, they'll, like, explode or whatever, but because that one just plants itself in the wall, it'll just immediately go, okay, I guess I have a job to do. This is me realizing I'm not going to get hit again, so I have to set up the next one. Yeah, that's Masquerade early. And as you can see, I am at 0 potions and 0 energy, so it is very much calculated how much I'll need to get in here. I think it's technically possible to get in here with only 2 potions, but I'll never do that. That's just not worth it. So our first forced combat room. Our first forced combat room in the game, and it's at 6% of the Trials of Fear content being revealed. It's pretty hilarious. 6% exploration, immediate combat room. I actually really like these combat rooms. I think they add a lot to the run. I'm pretty happy about their addition. Here I'm not trying to pick up the body, just so I can use it as an emergency help if it's needed. Picking up bodies is obviously the best way to heal yourself. It's just the safest. I know I give up on that after a little while, but that's mainly because like I'm through the initial sections and I have potions. Those little red flying enemies, you can one-shot them, but you have to be close enough. So oftentimes my placing against those guys is just like, can I get to a spot where I can hit them easily? I think these little red guys take 3 too. They take 3 or 4. I think it's 3 though. Here we are taking out more red boys. And, you know, like, part of it is just like letting them get close to you. It just gets easier when they're closer. So you can also play aggressive against them. It makes them easier, which is hilarious. I played so defensive against them in my casualties. Like, I got destroyed by them. But once you play against them aggressively, like, they just immediately get murdered. It's hilarious. The first. So yeah, you know, forced combat sections, as I think they are, great addition. I love them. I think they're super good. Hitting the only switch in this place, that's fun. Every other switch is like one of those little pads that you have to carry to some place. So here we are with the next bit of like new gameplay mechanics. This one, it's pretty simple. You just take the red light over to a switch, or like a pad, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. The thing that we need to keep in mind though with these is that if we get hit, we'll lose that red light. So you might notice me playing a little safe in a lot of sections where I have it. And that's just because if I lose it, I'm losing time. I think I lose it 1 time unintentionally in my run, but that's pretty good actually. I think there's only like 3 or 4 legitimate sections where you can really lose it easily. So only losing it once isn't that bad. So now we can actually go into the place like properly. 5 minutes in, we're finally entering the Masquerade, I guess you could say. It's gonna be like another 5 minutes to get through this next section. This area is very, very long. It's honestly the bulk of like the added content too. If you go to the other areas, I don't think they take nearly as long. I think the enlightened ones might, just because they're 3 different sections, all differently placed, but this one is definitely like the longest section all on its own. We also will not be seeing the enlightened ones. That's not obvious by the fact we're already in the Masquerade. I guess I'll real quick talk about like those skips I did earlier, because they skip both getting the enlightened ones and getting and like the old Coroni, who are in 2 different Trials of Fate or Trials of Fear sections. I don't know why I just didn't keep going. It's silly. There's definitely a lot of just like, okay, I'm not used to this section kind of moments here. Those boxes are really annoying. I need to find a better way around those. I jumped to the completely wrong spot here. I get thrown off a little bit by it. Realize that I can hit him with one of my shots, so I just go for it. And I screw up here. I shoot at the bottom guy, and I need to shoot at the top guy because he actually noticed me. So I'm just going to real quick take out these guys and do it again. It is very worthwhile to get that one open because that actually saves time later. Though I possibly could keep going and like open it later, I guess. I'm not sure yet. But either way, I think it might be like you get one shot on this in later runs to open up this switch here. Because that's all that one does, but it's a shortcut I could use later. Alright, another weapon flip. Another easy weapon flip. They really did give us like the best, easiest examples for using weapon flip and abusing weapon flip too. Okay, this is much harder though. This is a very precise shot we need to make here. And then we have to kill both of these quickly before the other one responds. Otherwise, we fail, and we probably have to go back to the camp to refill our energy and potions. And we really don't want to go back to camp either. It's a huge waste of time. Like, I think that alone saved me a massive amount of time. So I'm pretty sure my last run did not get those first try. I'm pretty sure they had to return to camp. Killing some enemies because I have to like go back in this room. But thinking about it, the only enemies I need to kill are the ones that walk on the ceiling there. Those are the only ones that are obnoxiously in the way. Everything else is just, if I can go fast enough, probably won't get hit. I really hate those enemies that pop out of the wall too, but they're not that bad in all honesty. They're just really annoying. Especially for like a speedrun standpoint, like they're just enemies that will try to get you if you try to stand in place too many times. And obviously we're not going to be standing in place too many times, so yeah, we take a lot of damage here. Very awkward. I guess I failed this one once too. This one is kind of random though, and it's unfortunate we have to do that one twice. But those Medusa heads are just going, and if they hit you, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son. Damage has been had. Getting safety salt for later. I don't remember how much these give. I really need to keep track. Yeah, they give like 3,000. That's enough for like one upgrade. So they're not bad. So yeah, now we have to do another loop of the rooms we just went through, which is the reason I bothered to kill some enemies. Otherwise, I'd just normally not like bother at all. That guy pops up, and I want to get my revenge, but he's just out of range. I'm a little sad. Those guys, I think, only take like one hit too. Doing some more intended gameplay here. I don't know if there's a way I can get past those two unintended, because it'd save a little time if I could. Didn't get hit by a Medusa head, which is really good. That wastes like a stupid amount of time. Also, jumping straight across there also wastes a stupid amount of time. So don't do either of those. That sucks. Yeah, 10 minutes in, we're through like the main part of the Masquerade. We just have the like the Quasimodo semi whatever boss room left. So here I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm going down here, that's what I'm doing. So no matter what, I'm gonna stop at the camp, and I'd rather do that at the bridge than here. Because if I do that before the bridge, I have to go through this room without like taking damage getting to the combat room, and I don't want to do that. This room kind of lies too. Like, you think there's more than one good path through it. And, like, there's only one good path through it, so I don't know why you do this. I guess another option we could do is like die after getting that bridge opened. That way we could just collect our salt, but then we wouldn't be able to get the quick upgrade. And that death would only save like possibly 10 seconds, maybe less. Like, it would be a very small time save. Okay, here we are. Like the second hardest new section added. The Masquerade Combat room. There's a lot of things that make this section hard. Really good enemy placement combined with just a really long section means that you kind of have to pick these apart one by one. So each pattern, or each time it does a new phase, it's 100% consistent. So we're trying to use like that to our advantage. I do get like really unfortunate where these guys are noticing giving me really bad patterns, but that's mostly just my bad positioning fault, so I don't mind that too much. I don't mind getting hit by the bubble, and I don't want the bubble to stay. Simply put, like, that bubble is annoyingly in the way, and it can really screw you up later, so it's better to just get out of the way. First of those weird things, I don't even know what to call that. This is another easy phase, but I'm pretty sure the hard phase is coming up right next. Yeah, there it is. This one features just so many enemies is its main like problem. They don't do a lot of damage. Like, sand piles do 1. These red guys, they do 2. I'm pretty sure the charger enemies do like 3, but they're such a non-factor depending on where you're standing. Those enemies, like, I don't know, they do a lot of damage, and if you don't check them, like, you're gonna get destroyed, but at the same time, they're not hard at all. They're easily baited and get out of the way. And we have the double voice for the final phase. I get the first one just fine, and then, like, the second one, I'm just getting hit by everything. Mainly because I don't check the sand pile. I easily could have done that, like, before this happened. The other sand pile, I think, is out of bounds. You can kind of see him, sort of. I probably would have died there had that not died on that last shot, too. Even though I had a potion left, it was just kind of like such an awkward positioning for everything. I take that potion there just because I don't want to hear the beeping. Or the clicking, rather. It's annoying. That literally was it. Like, I'll lose a half second if I don't have to listen to that. So I know this is not going to be a great run anyways. There's already like a death in it. Yeah, not great. So yeah, the Masquerade Ball, that's like 15-minute section added to the game. The next is like a 10-minute section added for 10 minutes added on the final boss, and like, you know, and the Warden's like less than 5 minutes. This is ridiculous. This is very very weird. Like, what's the word? Very weird progression. So yeah, just getting more salt here. I decided to take the salt with me. It's just like safety stuff. It's mostly safety for the final boss though. I want to get to full maximum heart retrieval on every use of my potion. Because you can get about 7 hearts restored per potion when they're fully upgraded. And that would mean I have an extra 20... No, that's... Sometimes math is hard, man. Oh yeah, it's 21. An extra 21 hearts to take on the final boss. Combine that with my 9, that's 30 hearts of damage I can take. It's not bad. That's definitely not bad for the final boss. You might think 30 hearts, that's a lot, but the final boss just, it hits you. It's just gonna hit you. It's just gonna happen. There's also a lot of cases where you don't get that maximum amount of hits, because like, if you use it at 3 hearts, you're losing 1 heart of healing, so it's a little awkward that way. I guess, I wonder if it would be worthwhile to go for like 6 hearts of healing and like 10 hearts total. You make it much easier to get to the maximum amount of health, but then you get like 28 maximum health instead of 30. So yeah, it's pretty clearly there's a quick drop on return there. And upgrading like potion strength is usually the best upgrade in just the game in general. Just because after like the first parts of the game, you should have like 4 potions. Like after Desert Library and our good friends at the beginning sections, there's 7 potions there. It's ridiculous. And there's another 2 in Golden Fortress, which are easily the worst potions to get in the game because they take forever. Well, the one of them doesn't take too long, but the other one does. Standard first lock, doesn't really matter. So this is more of just what we do in vanilla, any percent. Some strats might be able to be changed because we have more meter now, or we have more potions per meter. So if I wanted to do something differently, I could. But the big thing the only thing I can think about though, is using damage boosting in this room to not have to do this business. And I'm not talking about damage boosting like up here to get to this guy. I'm talking like damage boosting down below. I also kill that guy because I'm so tired of him existing in life, so yeah. Yeah, because I wonder how much damage boosting it would take to get past that laser. It might be too much to be worthwhile though. It might be worth it in I think like a 200% run. Because a 200% run you get more potions and you're gonna need more health now. Because I think you need like 11 hearts or 12 hearts to get basically what is Super Dandara. Was watching my positioning there just so I didn't get hit more than I needed to. Don't know if that was worthwhile or not. Don't know if even if I saved any time from it. But I wasn't feeling like taking extra damage I didn't need to. Unfortunately, this guy exists still. And now he's even harder, so that's great. Yeah, there's definitely like a lot of small and minor changes I can make to these rooms to make them faster. Unfortunately, these guys attack faster, so I take more damage from them. Which just, it's so annoying. Why'd they have to make them faster? They are already fast enough. Like, they already were just basically a ticking timer every time you saw them. Now things go downhill here. As if they were not already going downhill. They just keep getting worse. Everything's in the way. I hate that bird. I hate that bird. I hate that bird. That's all I have to say about that. That's just rough. I don't know why they just made those birds even harder, but they did. They did. They made them harder. So yeah, this is unfortunate. Just kind of going back. Whatever. Nothing else worth mentioning here. It's a sad day when you have to see those two twice going on the inside of Path Great Fortune. Unfortunate. Per usual, I'm just gonna kill this guy. I don't like dealing with him. Even though there is no wall down here anymore. I've not practiced for that wall not existing, so I'm not gonna. If I did a race, maybe I'd practice for that. But for the most part, no. Will not practice. Shall not practice. Get my free refill there. Of course needed it. So I have to be a little more aggressive on how I restore my invincibility here because it lasts such a short amount of time. Like, you seriously get hit and this is like, okay, shoot enough missiles to break the door and then get your invincibility right back, or you're gonna get hit by that bird swiping at you. That combination of less invincibility on this bird swiping faster is just, oof, it is so rough. It is honestly so rough. Oops. Okay. This room goes really well. I always wish it went that well. Seems like whenever I'm PB based, that thing will just kill you if you have 2 health. It'll just be like, oh, 2 health here. Let me take that off your hands for you. We go View of Solitude now and get our last upgrades, basically. I want a second bar of energy there just because of fighting. Just because of fighting the standard, or the base game final boss, because when you fight him, like, he just kind of trolls you. Having an extra memory shaft for that fight is really nice. I've done some kind of like figuring out where to go in Warden, but not enough, in my opinion. I think I need to do more. So I'm really just not sure at the moment. So this is gonna be our like second and final glimpse at Hidden Realms. It's kind of weird to me how little Hidden Realms we do, but that's just the way. That's just the way the game was so easily skipped. So I don't know what to say. But yeah, at this point, I already see there's kind of like 5 minutes of time save. So this run, even though it's probably going to smash my current PB, like this too could also be crushed very easily. So we'll have to see what we do about that in the future, but not now. I think I need to practice this category more before I go for more attempts. So the first thing I go for in this fight is this bird. And there's a good reason for that. He gets in the walls and stuff. I'm like, look at that. I don't even see him. And he can hit me. He's such a dick. This is the worst. Like, that bird right there is the worst enemy in the game. I mean that. He's 100% the worst. We're going to take a lot of damage here. Most of this does too, so it doesn't bug me. And even though I'm down to 1 potion, like, that right there is the hardest section of the entire fight, so we're not going to have to worry too much after that. I have no idea why I killed that guy. I know it spawns those guys. It's like, just like being back in the dream realm, dude, my favorite. Take my last potion there. So I could save that like potion for when I do something stupid and get hit like here, but I didn't. Because I didn't think I was going to need that much extra health. Which is understandable thought. Like, this top section is so free. It really is. Like, at this point, I'm just like, okay, just don't take anything really stupid and really damage to sell. And yeah, that's fight over. I am wondering if there's like a more optimal route for fighting that guy, but I don't think there is. Because you have to jump through all those eyes. And it's just like, well, you have to go to every point anyways. You can maybe do some little bit of like movement optimizations on the bottom part, but I don't think you could during the top part. They're all really just straightforward where they're located. There's nothing that's like, no cycles that get in the way while you're moving through it. Alright, Nara's good to go, which means we have to go fight the final boss now. Of course, cannot forget the switch. I've forgotten the switch before. It's very awkward. Pretty standard DV boss. I mean, you know, he's pretty free, in all honesty. Even when things go poorly now. The big thing is that he doesn't move as fast, so mistakes aren't as punishing. They don't lead to death. This boss really did used to be my gatekeeper, though. Like, I couldn't complete runs because of it. And then they nerfed it, and it's like, oh, I can do this like 100% of the time now. I do like to stand on the corners because like he's less likely to send projectiles to hit those spots, so I just kind of can keep shooting. And obviously, when you keep shooting, keep doing damage. He goes kind of crazy with eggs and other stuff, but Luckily, we don't have too much to deal with. Here, I have no idea what's going on with my aiming. Like, I'm aiming at stuff, and it's just like, where is it going? I don't understand. Like, once again, like, I'm trying to aim at him. Like, aim a little bit to the right there so I can hit the soft spot and not the hard spot. And it's just like, what's going on? Like, I have no clue. What is it doing that for? But yeah, we're super far ahead now. So all that matters is, like, not dying to the final boss in one go. And as I said before, this is like a 10-minute section. That's not a lie. It really is like a 10-minute section for this final boss. And every death the final boss will cost you like 7 minutes plus, something like that. It's really silly. Like this run might be defined by the fact of whether or not you can get yourself to not die to the final boss. I also positioned myself really poorly in this section. I forgot about that. Just keep getting hit by stupid things. It's like there's no reason I should have gotten hit in any of these situations. I don't think I've said it before, but that's a really nice prep for the final boss, because that's how you damage the final boss. You jump through those eyes. I use a missile there while I'm on the, like the moving, shifting platform. Because the missile will shoot you back less. It's also faster to use. So it's just kind of like a quick, okay, you know, get off me. Those eyes luckily take any amount of damage to kill. But now we're getting to a fight where our energy is absolutely useless because there is no good special to use with it. Gonna get peace out to Lazuli, and then hopefully, of course, the fight goes well. So there's, you may have already noticed, but there's a lot of different things we need to kill in this fight. Each one acts differently. These big eyes here, can't damage them until like their eyes open, and they shoot projectiles homing towards you when they open their eyes. Rather targeted at you when they open their eyes, not homing. The foreheads will shoot projectiles every once in a while, aiming at you. They're not supposed to hit you with their forehead, but he does there. Either way, what I'm thinking right now is I'm getting kind of dicked over by RNG, and the fight just started, which is great. I also noticed there's a girl behind me. The girl is, at first, not very harmful, and then in the later rounds, she starts shooting lasers, and those are awful. They do a lot of damage. They do like 4. Getting hit by a laser at this point will kill me. Luckily, the girl only takes 1 hit to get rid of. Yeah, like I almost got lasered there. What is that? Oh, these things that open their eyes too, they'll close again if you touch them, so you don't want to touch them. You'll also get damage if you touch them, so it's like, what the heck? This laser in the middle, or whatever you want to call it, it looks really dangerous. It only does 2 damage, I think. 2 or 3. And once you get hit by it, it's gone. However, there's also no reason for me to like go out of my way to like get hit by it, so we don't do that. And then this here is like the actual final boss. This eye in the middle. While it's open, it won't do anything, so we're gonna try to leave it open. And there's only 3 phases to this little section here, but this is easily the hardest section of the boss fight. I need to balance hitting both, well, hitting everything on the screen. I need to make sure I take care of the eyes quickly that spawn, because it will not spawn the next phase, which is there's 1 mask, 2 of the big eyes, and then 2 faces for this, all the little faces to this one. I really just don't want to be doing this fight longer than I have to. Or this section longer than I have to. This section's awful. Okay, so now we're going into the final section. This section's super hard. At first, it's not that bad, because like there's only the boss, but soon it'll start spawning things with it. In order to damage it, we have to open the eye and then jump through it. But we also want to start hitting it before it closes its eye again, because we can get in free hits. Like that, yeah. So around this point, it's going to start spawning extra stuff. The extra stuff hurts. We don't want to get hit by it, obviously. I didn't talk about the hands, but whenever you get punched, it does about 4 damage. It hurts a lot. We really don't want to get hit by it. This health bar also goes down really slowly, so we have to get a lot of hits in. I'm in a pretty good position for this fight. I have 1 potion left and like 7 hearts. So things can't go too poorly without me like having some sort of backup. But it is very likely things could go to such a point where I just die. Like this fight is just such a big jerk. Take a potion there for safety. Another notable thing about the eye when it opens is it won't start closing until we do damage to it, so we at least always get some damage. And we can always wait. We can wait to hit it so that we can line up a really good jump before jumping. And like, you can see these patterns, they're just starting to overlap, getting to a point where I can't even dodge stuff. This is super terrifying here. Like, whenever that thing gets to the center, he's almost always spawning like extra enemies to fight. And that's really bad. Now there's fists showing up, I jump into one. Like, things are going really bad right now. Amongst all this fight though, like the biggest thing is just like trying to keep your damage consistent, because like look at his health. This is a magic pixel that the enemy is still on, and it's like, how on earth? I don't understand. They did not make this fight easy. We started this fight at 103. It's now 110. This is a 7-minute fight. I'm definitely gonna be looking into like some faster ways to do this fight. But yeah, now all that's left is credits. I didn't realize this, but credits adds to in-game time, and in-game time is how this game is, well, its leaderboards go. So it's a little awkward. It's definitely a little awkward. But yeah, a pretty good game for a 3-man development team, I guess. So yeah, I think for a first run this isn't too bad. Well, a first run that I'm gonna submit, it's not too bad. I'll definitely upload this to YouTube. But this is just like, a lot about this run is just like me trying to figure out exactly what's going on, exactly how I can make this faster. I'll definitely be trying to take a look at like the Super Saiyan Dara. I don't know what to call that thing, but the one that takes like 11 hearts to go grab the upgrade, and you get to do double damage from that point. Expending salt, which is not a bad trade-off, but I would have to find a way to get like a lot of salt really quickly. But that could potentially let me cheese the final phase of the final fight, which is a really good thought in its own. Because that would save probably a lot of time in the first place, and 2, just make the run much easier. Because that final fight is beyond ridiculous. The big downside, though, to using like Super Dandara or Super Dara, whatever you want to call it, you take double damage whenever you have it active. So those like giant hands, those giant fists that do 4, they do 8. It's just like, what on earth would that be? I can't even think of that. But it's easy to switch off. So once again, like I'm on the fence about it. It also would take time to get it. So once again, just not sure. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do like some 100% stuff, just like casual 100% after this. So anybody who showed up for just this, thank you for showing up. And if you're not interested in the next thing, of course I understand.